thought of an idea here. Who is better as Michael Myers, Nick Castle or Dick Warlock? And the obvious answer is, for me, it's Dick Warlock. I just loved Halloween 2, the original 1981 classic. I liked how he moved. I liked everything about how he did Michael Myers. I think Michael Myers was a lot more scarier in this one than it was in the John Carpenter original film. Even though this one takes place the same day, it's in the same night. So it's it's all in your take. I mean, I could have just went with this video and said, hey, who was the best Michael Myers overall? But I think the next video I could do is basically compare who was better between Shanks and Wilbur. But we'll have to wait and see. Now, I did mention why I liked Warlock, because I just liked the way he moved. I liked the way he looked, in the mask. I think it looked more terrifying than Nick Castle, to be honest. Especially the scene that gets me really big time is when he's in the back. I think it's Nurse Karen's. He's actually sitting inside Nurse Karen's car. She gets out, and then it pans into I think it was the rearview mirror, and then there you see him, and it's like, I don't know how in the hell didn't even know that he was in the back of the vehicle, sitting back there. So that was pretty cool. I do like this. I do like the effect in Halloween 1, John Carpenter's Halloween, with Nick Castle, with when after Laurie discovers Annie's body upstairs with the Judith Myers tombstone on the bed right above her, and then she backs up like into a corner of the hallway, and in the darkened room you see it comes into focus, Michael's mask, the face, coming into focus slowly. I thought that was really, really a cool effect, really scary as well. Same effect that happened when Janet, I think she was either the nursing assistant, when she goes to find Dr. Mixter, and she discovers what happens to him because he has the needle that was into the eye, and then she backs up, and Michael's face slowly starts to come into frame. I thought that was really, really well done. It's almost like that effect with Holbrook in John Carpenter's The Fog, when Kathy is looking for him, which is Janet Leigh's character, and she was like calling out, "Follow him alone, follow him alone." And all of a sudden, she's in a darkened area right behind her, and all of a sudden he jumps out. That was a really cool effect, how they did that. But I hope everything is going good for you, Face Days. Hope everything is going great. How's the weather up there? I mean, it's cold here. I mean, it was cold up in Chicago Friday night when I went up to Nightmare Week in Chicago. But other than that, it was great. But let me know, guys. I mean, I know there's 3 of you guys are watching. Let me know which Michael Myers did you like better between these 2 guys, Dick Warlock or Nick Castle. Like I said, mine is Dick Warlock. Another reason too why I like Dick Warlock is because the scene when he goes down the steps, he keeps a straight head. It's raining hard in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Oh man, I hope there ain't any floods out there. I mean, sometimes with a lot of rain you get floods. The scene when Michael Myers is going downstairs, I think he's going down in the basement after Laurie. When he's going down the steps, he's just looking forward. He's not looking down to what step he's going down. He's just looking forward and stuff like that. Yeah, thank goodness there's no floods. I mean, I got a brother-in-law. I got my brother and his wife. They live a couple towns away from me. They get their basement flooded every like 1 or 2 years. It floods for some reason. I don't know why, but it's really crazy. But anyways, back to like the Halloween stuff. That scene there, and then the scene where he goes in and finds Laurie's room in the hospital, and how the door on the room has like a square window, and she basically fools him. She puts pillows underneath the sheets to make it look like she's actually laying there, and she's really not. So he goes in and walks in there slowly, and then he takes the scalpel that he has, and he's going like that, and then he goes and takes his other hand, and it reveals it was just pillows that he hit. And just the way he moved from there, the way he turns was like really, really slow. And he's walking slow. And then that whole scene where they show Lori on the one security camera and then Michael on the other security camera, that was really cool too because it was really eerie because they were actually, I think, in the same hallway. Uh, but I mean, the whole build up for that whole thing with him chasing her and stuff like that, and especially when she, Jimmy, when Jimmy comes out in the car and the horn goes after he fell inside the hospital, had a concussion due to Mrs. Alves, all that blood was being drained out of her. That scene where Lori is kind of running, and then all of a sudden in the distance you see Michael come around, like I think it's like the generator fence where the generator's at, and cuts in that music, and it's like he comes right along the side of the fence. That was pretty scary. And that music hits, and damn well that she is trying to bang on the windows, the door, and stuff to the hospital to get Loomis, the marshal's attention, Nurse Chambers' attention as well to escape. But the way he was walking, and it was a scalpel that he used. So in that, I mean, that scene, that was like his main weapon, because he didn't have the butcher knife in the third and final act. It was the scalpel. He did use the butcher knife when he went into the Elrod's home. So that was pretty cool. Uh, the mask, they said the mask was the same mask they used for the very first film. Uh, I think it was Deborah Hill that had it laying underneath her bed or something, and I don't know. Somebody said that I don't know if Deborah Hill smoked or something, and they said it was like kind of like discolored, but uh, it didn't look the same. It didn't look like the same mask from the original film. But Dick Warlock's head is shaped different than Nick Castle's head. Plus, the thing I like about this one too, uh, despite the first film, I believe Dick Warlock was the only Michael Myers in costume. Where in the first one he had Nick Castle, he had Tony Moran in that one scene where he gets unmasked, and he had a couple other guys. There was a different guy that played Michael when he got shot off the balcony. My brother met him. Of course, that guy has long passed away now, but a couple years ago he passed away. Uh, yeah, you had multiple people, and I think Tommy Lee Wallace actually worked in Halloween 1, and I think he played a part of Michael Myers in the first film as well, if I can remember. I could be wrong about it, but uh, I just think it's more impressive when you have an actual stunt guy actual play this type of character pretty much throughout the entire film. I'm not certain if Dick Warlock did all the Michael Myers scenes in Halloween 2, but if he did, that's really cool because he is a professional stuntman. So, and two, I like it because I like the fact because what we got. If you put Nick Castle and Dick Warlock side by side, if you can edit the video of them as Michael Myers, uh, I'm always going to go towards Dick Warlock all the way. I was not really a fan of Nick Castle's, even though I know he's the original Michael Myers. Uh, Technically, he's really not the original because there were other multiple guys that were playing the character in the first film. I mean, you got, like I said, the likes of Tony Moran, then the guy that plays him when he gets shot off the balcony, and then I think it was also Tommy Lee Wallace that played a scene of Michael Myers in one of the scenes. So it was actually multiple guys playing Michael Myers in the first film versus just Dick Warlock being in the second one, just doing it all. Uh, it does pay off. I don't know what Nick Castle's really background is. I really don't know if he was a professional stuntman or not. I got questions. How many people play Michael Myers, the character in the movies? Well, I mean, how many people? Well, for part one, there was like multiple people that played him. You had, of course, Nick Castle. You had Tony Moran in the unmasked scene for a split second. That's two. Then you had the guy that played him when he got shot off the balcony. That's three. And then I heard that Tommy Lee Wallace played him in one scene, so that's four. So then you go over to Halloween 2, the only one I know that played him was Dick Warlock, so that's six. And then you get to Halloween 4, you have two people, because originally they had Tom Morga play Michael Myers, but things weren't working out great with that. He just didn't look right, so they went to George Wilbur. So you had two guys play Michael Myers in that one. And then you get to Halloween 5: The Revenge. You have Don Shanks, the only non-white person to play Michael Myers because he's full-blooded Native American Indian. And then you get to Halloween 6, you have George Wilbur again, but then he gets replaced by A. Michael Lerner. So that's two guys that I know. I played Michael on that. Then you get in Halloween 7, which is Halloween H2O, you get Chris Duran, and I think there might have been somebody else playing Michael Myers in that too, but Chris Duran was the main one that got credited. And then in Resurrection, it was Brad Lorry that I know for sure. And then for like the Rob Zombie Halloweens, I know it's Tyler Mane. I don't know if they had stunt doubles for Tyler Mane or not. I'm not sure. I don't like those two films. No offense to Rob Zombie. I like his music, but I do not like most of his movies. The David Gordon Green movies. I know James Jude Courtney did the scenes. I think there might have been somebody else that did a couple of scenes for him in that. I'm not sure. That trilogy would have been awesome if they didn't, screw it over with having the Corey Cunningham show and Halloween Ends. I mean, that trilogy would have been pretty cool. But, they went out a different route, so I think there might have been a total of maybe like 12, guys that played Michael Myers, because you had multiple people playing Michael Myers in the very first film, which I don't know the reason why behind all that. I don't know if Nick Castle was an actual stunt person, but Dick Warlock is, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, you look at it, everybody brought something different to the character. What about Jason? How many, well, we can talk about Jason here. I know this was a Halloween stream, but I mean, we can talk about Jason. How many people played Jason characters in the movies? Well, let's see here. You had Ari Lehman, the first Jason. He wasn't the killer. I mean, he played a young boy. I just met him this Friday already. He's a real nice guy. Then you had Steve Dash and Warrington Gillette. Of course, Warrington Gillette got the credit because he was supposed to play Jason, but he couldn't do like his own stunts. So Warrington Gillette came in the scene where he doesn't have the sack over his head, but Steve Dash did everything else in the film. So that's two guys. So that's three guys. Then you got Richard Brooker, and then you got Mike DeLuna, so that's 5. And then for Friday 13 Part 4, the final chapter, it was all, from what I know, it was all Ted White. So that's 6. Then you get to Friday 13 Part 5 in the beginning, it's all Tom Morga. Then you get to Friday 6, it's C.J. Graham. They did have Dan Bradley play in the one scene with the paintball things. He was Jason in the paintball scene with killing those people. That was Dan Bradley. They replaced him because they said he was too bulky. And then in Part 7, it was all Kane Hodder, from what I know, and it was all Kane Hodder in Part 8, except for like 2 scenes. Then that was when it was the train scene where Sean jumps on him and lands in the train tracks. That was, I believe that was King Kurzinger. So King Kurzinger filled in for King Hatter in that scene, and when Rennie drives the car into Jason in the street and knocks him over and stuff, that was I believe King Kurzinger. So there was King Kurzinger and King Hatter in Part 8. So I forgot the count already, but I think that's got to be around like 8 people already played Jason. Then you get the Jason Goes to Hell. That was Kane Hodder, and then Jason X, Kane Hodder, and then Freddy vs. Jason, it was Ken Kurzinger, and then it was Doug Tate, I think that's what his name is, I'm not really sure. That played him at the end when he's holding Freddy's head up when he comes out of the water. And then we got Derek Mears for the 2009. But yeah, it's pretty amazing with a lot of this stuff, what they really do. I mean, certain things, certain scenes, some stuntmen can't do for some reason. I know they had a different stunt actor for Jason in Freddy vs. Jason for the cornfield fire scene when he's ignited on fire. That was not King Kurzinger. As much as that, I would love to have seen him be, but yeah, going back with Halloween, guys, that scene, the fire scene at the end of the film when Michael's ignited on fire, I'm still walking like, what do you do? What do you do? And then he drops to his knees, and you think, oh, this is it. And then we got 9 years, 10 years later, we get Halloween 4, the Return of Michael Myers, which was a good one. Uh, I liked Halloween 4, and I also liked Halloween 6, despite the whole thing with the incest thing with him impregnating Jamie and having Jamie's baby and stuff like that. It was a good film. I liked the mask and stuff, so. That's true. By planning a movie between Jason versus Michael Myers in the future, they need to do something like that. That would be really cool if they would do Jason versus Michael Myers. I don't know why they never did a Freddy versus Jason 2, but I think they probably decided, hey, what else could you do with the character? It was going to be a Freddy versus Jason versus Ash film, but they never ever did it for some reason. But that would have been really interesting to see that one, especially Ash taking on both of those guys. It'd be he's the only one that's really a human. Uh, Makes a movie. You should make a movie. You should make a movie. You should be a director sometime. That'd be great to see that happen. If I was making a Halloween movie, I would want an actual stuntman to play Michael Myers, because these stunt guys can actually do pretty much everything. Pretty much everything. But I did hear, I think was it Craven Something Scary that interviewed Jeff Brockton, stuntman that played Ghostface in Scream 3. He did say that they're starting to go with digital stuntman now, so a lot of your actual stunt people are going to be going out of business, which I think is a shame. It really is. That's what happens when technology takes over, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, if I was to direct a Halloween film or a Friday the 13th film, I want an actual stuntman playing the Jason or Michael Myers character, because they can do pretty much most all of their stunts. You didn't have to worry about that. Like, you can talk about, going back to the original Friday the 13th, even though we could talk about Friday the 13th. I mean, this doesn't just have to be Halloween, either, or Castle versus Warlock. But if you go back to the original Friday the 13th, they couldn't get stunt doubles. They couldn't afford it. So it was Betsy Palmer and Adrian King out there going at it one-on-one like that. The slaps to the face that Palmer was doing to Adrian was epic inside the shop area. I mean, I kind of laugh at it every time, because the way Betsy would actually move her hands, she's like, it's like that, and it was just so funny, and the way she actually threw Adrian down on a table, right through a table, was pretty epic. And I think Betsy Palmer had to be like in her 50s at that time, and good strength, good strength for a woman that age, being able to do her own stunts, especially a whole scene with them on the beach and stuff too. I mean, her bashing Adrian's face into the sand on the beach. That was, I mean, that had to have hurt. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. But what about the DC versus Marvel in the future movies? I heard something about that might be happening. I mean, they would have to collaborate. They would have to come up with some really good idea, like convincing story to have Marvel and DC come together to do that. I mean, I think that would be the movie to end all movies. I think that would actually blow out all the Avengers movies combined together. I mean, if you get the right director, you get the right characters to play these characters, it would really, really be epic to see. I think that would probably outdo the Lord of the Rings, to be honest. I mean, I know some people might think, well, I might be crazy for saying that, but just think about it. I'm a big superhero fan myself. I haven't talked about superhero films too much on this channel. It's all been horror. Like I said, I didn't pretend I'm making this a horror movie channel, but I grew up watching horror films when I was a kid, so I can actually talk about this stuff. But the thing about horror films is that you can make stories versus taking the superheroes from the comic books and doing a movie. You basically have to go ahead and with those comic book characters, you have to go ahead and incorporate the storylines from the comics into the movies. But when you go ahead and you do these comic book superhero movies and they don't follow or are not, and it's not a story from the comics, and that's when you run into a problem. So you're making up a story that was never in the comics. That's very, very different, and I don't think I'd like that type of thing. But like I said, the MCU has not scratched the surface yet a lot of these characters with what they're doing. I mean, when till the X Men get in there, there's a whole bunch of stories that they can do with X Men that the Fox universe never even did yet. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Of course, a lot of that stuff is all heavy CGI, and you have to because you couldn't make an X Men film back in the '80s because you didn't have the technology to do it, and that's just the way it is. So yeah. Anyways, back to the Halloween stuff. Yeah, Dick Warlock is my favorite. Michael Myers. Between the two, him and Nick Castle. He's a stunt guy. I don't know. I should go and research on Nick Castle, see if he was a stunt guy. I know Nick Castle had directed some stuff, particularly The Last Starfighter. So The Last Starfighter was a fun movie. I actually got a copy of that movie here. It's on DVD. My buddy owns 2 copies, so I actually got a second copy from him that I borrowed. I'm just trying to figure out where in the world is it at right now. Last Starfighter right here. Directed by Nick Castle. And, it's got, believe it or not, it's got Lance Gust, who was in Halloween 2. Lance Gust was a great character. He was also in Jaws: Revenge, and I was never really a Jaws fan. I never really was a fan of any of those films. It's just something I was never really into. I mean, I like animals, I like marine life, but I mean, I was just never into those films. I think the best one was the first one. I think they should have probably just left it as a standalone film, in my opinion. If not, they should have just done it with 2, where they had Roy Scheider again, and then end it right there with that, and that would have been great. Just a 2-movie deal. 3 I liked, even though the CGI, even though the 3D effect was really silly. You had Dennis Quaid in there. You had the debut of Leah Thompson. Who she's from, Lorraine Bates from Back to the Future. That was her debut film. Really awesome. What a debut film she had in that. You also had the late Louis Gossett Jr. in that as well. Yeah, I think they could have selected. When you look at that, and Jaws: Revenge had Lauren Gary and it had Michael Caine in it. I think what they could have done is they could have made Jaws, just left it as a trilogy of 1, 2, and 3. I would have been fine the way they ended it with 3, because that was fun. Because 3 was in 1983, and I just think that some movies should stop at a certain point. Like to me, the Halloween universe ended with Resurrection. That's the way I look at it. Even though I got the deluxe edition box that has the Rob Zombie Halloween films in it, I have not touched those. I don't even watch those at all. I am not getting the David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy. However, I do own a copy digitally on Vudu or Fandango's, which is now of Halloween Kills. But it would have been an awesome trilogy if they didn't go the route they did with Halloween Ends, of just having it the Corey Cunningham show, which was, I think, pathetic. And I did a rant on that years ago when the movie came out, and it was more of like the night that Corey Cunningham comes home instead of Michael Myers. So basically, he was turning himself into Michael Myers. If you guys want to know what that's about. But there are some fans of that film, of Halloween Ends. I mean, if you're a fan to it, more to you. I'm not. To me, my Halloweens were Halloween 1, the original, through Halloween Resurrection, and that's it. But I heard they're going to be doing I heard they're talking about doing another Halloween movie, and there was, rumors going around that Jamie Lee Curtis was going to come back for another one, and I'm like, I thought she said she was going to retire after Halloween Kills, and hang up Laurie Strode for good, But or Halloween Ends, I thought Halloween Ends was going to be her very last time playing Laurie Strode, and she was going to hang it up for good, but who knows? Sometimes it always comes down to money, that's what it's. I often wonder if that's what it is. But it's crazy, I like with the Scream films. I'm thinking about doing another live stream here, talking about maybe like the best female ghost faces. Yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know why some people just don't leave franchises alone. Especially the way Halloween Kills ended, or Halloween Ends ended with him, and he was done. He was dead. He got grinded up in that machinery, and that was it. I mean, what more could he ask for? But anyways, I mean, they're gonna reboot the series again, and they're gonna keep going and keep going and keep going. But yeah, I like the fact that we do have what we have in the Halloween franchise. You know, I mean, I know there are fans of the Rob Zombie stuff. I'm not. I don't like them. There are fans of David Gordon Green trilogy. But then here, I am a true fan of the original saga, which was 1 through Resurrection. And we were supposed to get a sequel to Resurrection, which would have been called Halloween 9, but then they went straight to the Rob Zombie films. So, yeah, it's crazy how things get like that. And then they, uh, speaking of this, Tubi has Friday 13th, 2009 that I can watch. So I started watching it last night. I didn't like that movie when I seen it in the theater. I was so hyped about it, and I was disappointed. And there were a lot of things that I didn't like. They didn't have like the traditional music. They combined the first 4 films together. I couldn't figure out where part 4 fell into it, and I figured out where part 4 fell into it because Jared Padalecki's character Clay is the Rob Dyer's character, and the Sandra Dyer character is the Whitney character, which is Clay's sister, who he's out searching for. So there's your part 4 right there, and I just figured it out last night. I found Shades of 1, which was in the beginning, Mrs. Voorhees, and then 2 with him having a sack, and then 3 with the Red Barn, where that dude, that stoner guy was perverted anyway. The guy was looking at a Playboy magazine, and he was like licking it, and you like that bitch, and this and way and that way. I'm thinking, boy, that dude was sick. I said, I know he's gonna get it really good by Jason, and sure enough, he does. And he does, Jason does find the hockey mask, gets that in there, and I'm gonna give it a second try. I mean, I love Derek Mears, and then you got Daniel Panabaker, who was Caitlin Snow from the Flash series, really good. She's in that too. So I'm gonna try to watch it, tonight and see if I can really get into it and whatnot. What about the Punisher? My favorite superhero is coming soon to Netflix. He already had a show on Netflix, didn't he? With John Bernthal, or is that like a rebirth series they're doing? Because I know my favorite Marvel character, and it's really hard to pick. I got 3 of them. I love the X-Men. I love Spider-Man, but my favorite Marvel character is Thor. Not the Chris Hemsworth Thor, but the comics Thor, the one that has the helmet and all that stuff. That's my version of Thor that I like. I mean, I don't know what the MCU were doing, what the MCU was thinking. I heard stories about Chris Hemsworth. I guess this was just a rumor. I heard Chris Hemsworth didn't want to wear the helmet, and I'm like, so they blended in 2 versions of Thor. The J. Michael Straczynski Thor, the Albert Coppola Thor with the metallic arm sleeves, because that's what he has. And then the Ultimate Thor, which he does not have the helmet. And he does have the beard and stuff like that. Of course, he does get a beard and stuff in the Walter Simonson run later on in that run. But, yeah, I just did not like the way, nothing against Chris Hemsworth, but I did not like the way they portrayed Thor in the MCU. I just think they could have done a better job with that. I think the only character in the MCU that they did justice to was Steve Rogers, which I wish if they're gonna bring Steve Rogers back, I wish Chris Evans would come back. But I heard rumors that he's gonna be back in Avengers Doomsday. Don't know what the surprises are gonna be on that, but we'll have to wait and see. Punisher, I was never really a fan of. I mean, but he is a badass. I'll give it that. I mean, I've seen all the Punisher movies. The one with the first one with Dolph Lundgren, that was okay. Then the one with Thomas Jane, and then the other one with Ray. I think what was it, Ray Stevenson that played him in Warzone. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really wicked out. I thought the thing that was really horrifying was the boss, and the boss was like Jigsaw or whatever the hell it was. His face was all messed up and shit, and it's it's one of those things. I mean that's the thing when you do these comic book movies. Some people complain, but they're not going to make them accurate to the comics. Like, we found out with Captain America Civil War. If you read the Ed Brubaker Captain America storyline, the Ed Brubaker Captain America I'm talking about, they have the Civil War storyline. Steve Rogers does die, and Bucky Barnes takes up the mantle, and that's why people are pissed, because Anthony Mackie is the new Captain America, and Anthony Mackie is Sam Wilson the Falcon, and he takes up the mantle of Captain America, not Bucky Barnes. They're going to switch things up. I mean, they're going to switch things up. I would have loved to have seen it be Bucky taking up the role as Captain America. I think it would have been badass to see what his costume would have looked like in the whole 9 yards. But they're going to do things that, us fans are not going to like. But hey, that is what it is. I'm going to accept it. Um, the movie I'm really excited about is Fantastic Four. Can't wait to see what it's gonna be like. The trailers are pretty awesome. Um, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Pedro Pascal does as Mr. Fantastic. I'm a little iffy on it, but you know, um, Vanessa Kirby looks great as Sue Storm. The guy that's playing the Thing. The Thing looks 100% comic book accurate, which I like. Then we got Johnny Storm, which is great. That actor is playing Joseph Quinn. I think is playing Johnny Storm. I could be wrong about the actor's name, but very good stuff. Um, Final Destination's coming out this month here, so I'm gonna hopefully check that out as well. I'm really excited about that one. I just wish Brec Bessinger would have had a bigger role. She's playing the younger version of the older character that's in the film. She actually plays that character back in the 60s, I believe. So it'd be great to see her, but I don't know how much of a big role. I know her from Stargirl when that show was great and they canceled it after the third season, which I thought was complete bullshit if you ask me. But that's just the way things go. But they let Superman and Lois finish their season out, which I thought was stupid. Oh, because Superman is the first superhero ever created. I'm gonna see the new movie with David Cornsweet and Rachel Bosnia. I'm gonna go see that one. I'm not really expecting anything too hyped. We got Lex Luthor again, which I am sick and tired of seeing Lex Luthor in these damn Superman films. We had him in Superman 1 with Christopher Reeve, Superman 2. We've had him in Superman 4. We had him in Superman Returns. We've had him in Batman vs. Superman. Let's do Brainiac. Let's do Brainiac. Somebody we haven't seen as a Superman villain in the live action films. James Gunn, do something. Do it the right way. That's all you got to do. No offense. I like Nicholas Hoult. I liked him as Beast. I mean, he looks pretty good as Lex Luthor, but my God, man, enough of this shit with Lex Luthor. I'm sick and tired of even, talking about it, it's crazy, Um, the thing that really pisses me off. Do you remember when I think what was it Netflix that was going to have the Batgirl show with Leslie Grace? It was going to be the Burnside costume she was going to have on. That film was 90% done. That was also going to have Brendan Fraser. That has Brendan Fraser as Firefly. That film was 90% done, and then they canceled it. Why would you do that? Why would you cancel a film that's 90% done? And this is why DC is so screwed up. Because back in the day, it was Superman, Christopher Reeves, and then he had a whole bunch of Batman films. They had other characters they could have done. Back in 2000, when X-Men came out, the very first X-Men from 2000 came out, DC should have started something with that in 2000. They could have been right up there where they're at right now with the Marvel films, but DC will never ever catch up with Marvel anyway with the films because of the stupidity of, I think it was Warner Brothers or whoever it is, and then, James Gunn is going to go ahead and, reboot the entire DC universe. I wanted so bad to see a Gal Gadot Wonder Woman trilogy. Patty Jenkins went to them. He says, "Oh, this is not what we're doing," and that was it. So we only got two Wonder Woman films. A lot of people didn't like Wonder Woman 84. I liked it a little bit. It was slower paced than the first one, but I mean, I kind of liked it. They could have done. I wish they would have allowed her to have her trilogy to be complete, but they never did. So I guess years down the road we're gonna get a Wonder Woman movie with a different actress, which would be I wouldn't mind it, but I mean Gal Gadot was awesome as Wonder Woman anyway. But Supergirl, it just I guess wrapped up filming a couple weeks ago or a month ago. I can't wait to see Miley Alok in costume. I can't wait to see what the costume's gonna look like. We haven't seen anything yet with her. Pictures that I know online of her in costume, so that'll be interesting to see that. It's just it's amazing how they can do everything. It's amazing how they can come up with all these different movies year after year after year without running out of ideas. Like with the horror films, they ran out of a lot of horror films because back in the heyday, golden age was in the 80s. They were popping up in horror movies every week or so, or every couple weeks, or every month or so, and that's why the slasher genre died pretty much back in the late 80s, and then it got revived in 96 with Scream. And then we don't got really much with slashers, but more supernatural stuff these days. But with the new I Know What You Did Last Summer that's coming out in July here, I'm really excited about that one. A buddy of mine isn't. Asked me, "Are you going to go see it?" I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to go see it. I've never seen them. I've never seen the first two in theaters because I was underage. Because I was like in junior high at the time, and the first Scream I saw in theater was Scream 4, and then I got to see the original film 2 years ago down here at a theater right near my house here. A couple of Octobers ago, like two years ago, and on October they showed it. Last year I got to see the 50th anniversary of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's the original from 1974. That was pretty cool seeing that on screen. But I'm really kind of pushing. Hopefully in October we might get a Nightmare on Elm Street 40th anniversary screening of it down here, or a 45th anniversary of the original Friday the 13th, which I'd be way up for on that one. That'd be epic. So, yeah. It's one of those things when you go to these movies and stuff like that. It's a good time. You go to these movies, you watch movies with everything that's going on in the world, all the crazy stuff that's going on in this world we're living in. It seems like everybody's so judgmental now these days. I mean, they're gonna judge you here, left and right, this way and that way. Oh, you like horror films? We don't want anything to do with you because you like horror films and stuff like that. I mean, I work 5 days a week, guys. I like to sleep in on the weekends, and I still am trying to get myself motivated enough to go back to church. I like to go like early, like 9 a.m. service and stuff too. I slept in today. I was going to go today, and I slept in again. And it's been a busy week because I had Nightmare Weekend on Friday, and it's like, you want to relax on your days off, and you want to be able to sleep in a little bit. And it's like, and then you got people out there that like to, say, hey, it's important to go. It's important to go. I know it's important to go, but it's just, when I work these hours, or anybody works full time, yeah, and you got 2 days off, which is on the weekends. You just want to sleep in, But eventually, I'll get back up and doing that because I like to get out and get involved with other people and stuff too. It's great. I don't like to spend a lot of money. I know a lot of people like to spend a lot of. I know some people like to spend a lot of money. I don't like to spend a lot of money or blow a lot of money. Like when I went to the convention, I walked out with a huge amount of money because I wasn't like some people that bring like $500 and they blow all that there, But I did buy a couple things, which I did show you those Funko Pop comic covers, which are valued at around like 25 to $30. They were $5. All the Funko Pops, no matter if they were regular Funkos or they Funko Pop comic covers. So. That was a heck of a steal. It was. I don't know if they'll have those ever again like next. I don't know if they'll have that like that again next year. I think that might have been just a one time since they were right here in Chicago for the very first time for their convention. But they are coming back, and I'm really excited because I can't wait. So that means Chicago now has C2E2, Fan Expo, Flashback Weekend, Days of the Dead twice, once in the spring and once in the fall. And then now Nightmare Weekend, so that's 5 conventions we got in Chicago, which is awesome. And the cool thing about that is because Flashback Weekend, Days of the Dead, and Nightmare Weekend, the venues where they're at are all in the same area. So Nightmare Weekend, I'm assuming it's going to be at down at Lee Stevens Convention Center again next year like it was this weekend. Days of the Dead will be at Crown Plaza, and Flashback Weekend will be at Hyatt Regency. So Crown Plaza Hotel, Hyatt Regency Hotel, and Down Lee Stevens Convention Center are all in walking distance. That is pretty cool. I was joking around with my friend. Can you imagine if these all 3 of these conventions were going on in the same weekend? That would be insane. That would be insane. That would be the truth there. So, yeah, I know. I mean, I know this was supposed to be all about Nick Castle and Dick Warlock as Michael Myers. It ended up being going into other topics, but I probably should have said who's better as Michael Myers. Castle, Warlock, and more talk. But that's just the way it is. When you do these live streams, you're gonna be talking about other things, off the topic stuff too. So yeah, it's been fun doing this live stream. It really has been. I get home here. I wish I could do a live stream where I can get on YouTube with my Action Pro Cam with better video quality. But for live streams, for YouTube, I have to do it with my phone. But that's okay too, because I get to actually chat with you guys in the chat here and get to answer your questions, or if you have questions for me, I can answer them as well. So yeah, that's it. I know this movie here is coming out on 4K. I got that. That's a really good film. Sean Cunningham, Harry Manfredini, and you got Ron Carroll plays one of the characters in the film. Very very cool stuff. Very very cool stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna pick Deep Star 6 out on 4K. I do know, and I did get a notification. I did pre-order on Arrow Video's website the 4K copies of Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X. They have been shipped, so I should be getting those here sometime later on in the new week coming up here. And I thought about making a live stream commentary by watching both of them and just discussing about what the picture quality is. But I think what I'll do is I'll probably watch the film first, and I'll come on and I'll just chat away about both films and what I think about the picture quality and stuff like that. And I'm not a big Jason Goes to Hell fan. I got it because it is part of the franchise, but I should own actually the 2009 remake, even though I don't really care for much of the film. But I am going to give the film another chance to look at it. Again, Derek Mears, there was something wrong with him as Jason. It was just, it felt too much like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, because it was directed by the guy that did the remake of that film. But, yeah. But with further ado, this is all I got. Fun live stream today. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. It's cold here, so I'm staying warm here. Tomorrow I'm going to be hitting the gym tomorrow morning. Getting my work week started, and I will be going on vacation from June 9th through June 13th. That's almost like 4 weeks away from my vacation time, so I'm just staying home. So you'll probably be seeing a lot of videos. I'll be doing some kayaking stuff out there during that week of my vacation. Be doing a couple live streams, just talking about some different stuff, movie related stuff, and so on. But yeah, without further ado, that's all I got. Take care and see you guys back in the next one.